Masechet Shevuot Daf Lamed Aleph Amud Aleph 37 lines down. Mishnah said, "Bifnei betin v'shlo bifnei betin." Inside or outside betin, the mayor would hold that a ayed is chayav if he swore falsely, whether he denied it in or outside court, assuming he said the Shevuah. And Hamim say no. Whether the guy said it himself or someone else asked him to swear, he's not chayav unless he denied it in court. So, but my committee, what's the machloket based off of? What are they arguing about? Amar Rabbanan Kamanid Rabba Bedon Mina Mina Bedon Mina Ve'okei Batra Kamitzki. Machloket basically whether or not we hold when you learn the Gzera Shavah from a pasuk, do we hold that you learn from it and you could continue learning from A to B, or do we only learn what you learn from A to B and you keep it that way? You can't learn extra. For example, let's explain. Rabbi Meir said, Rabbi Meir said, hold on, we learn the concept of the swearing for chayav, for a swearing of testimony from the story, from the case of a deposit, pikadon. Right? I go over to the guy and I said, hey, you were watching my item? No, I wasn't. I swear. Okay, fine. My pikadon is like in the case of a deposit. The guy is swearing by himself. The watcher is swearing it by himself. If he did to by the testimony, Mushban Piasmo Hayav also if he did by himself, he's Hayav. And we now, therefore, we continue to learn from there and go further. Ma Pikadon Ben Bedin Ben Metaladin. If I do Ben Bedin Ben Bedin, just like by Pikadon by deposit, it works whether or not Bedin. So too by testimony. The word says Rabbanon sorry, no. Don't mean not occupied. You learn from that place, but you keep it in that context. And therefore, Ma Pikadon is in the case of deposit, Mushban Piasmo Hayav, you do by yourself Hayav. If you do by testimony, Mushban Piasmo Hayav only Hayav by yourself. Okay, by try when you stick the same context, just like in the case of Pikadon, you can only get zapped through a shavua via other people, only inside betin, not outside, so too by testimony. Right, so the Mar the Huda Papa Apostle says 1 second, no, it's not the Mahoget. Even Pikadon Gamari learned this halacha of testimony from deposit. The Kula Amala Pligi, nobody would agree. The Don't we not every hold you learn from there and you continue learning. Therefore, Hamim would agree with the mayor. Even if he denied it outside Betin. Ella must be something else. The reason why Hachamim hold the follow is the reason why is the Maiti Lebekav He learns from the Kavachomer from Edut. Just like we see a witness chayav for swearing by being swearing via another person. The guy says, "Do you swear that?" And they say, "Amen." Maybe ask him so for sure he does it himself. Once we have a kavachomer, we only can learn from the kavachomer liot kinidon from what we learned it from. All right. So yes, if he, from himself chayav, so for sure other people, and then therefore we keep the halachot, we keep those parameters, and therefore, mamush bam mepeachim just like the other people betin in shlok betin lo only in betin not outside betin. After piat small betin in shlok betin so too lo what just like so too himself it has to be inside betin not outside. I'm really running the papa hamim sira papa me masid amrat. Can you really say that the lab bedum mina plagi is mahoket based off of with the halacha which you're learning from the kavachomer? Ba'atran got Pikadon, we have a Mishnah regarding the case of Pikadon. Shevuot Pikadon regarding the swearing of a deposit. No Heged Banashim Banashim Paz Menamun. Hakim can be relative non relative. Shirim Pazlin good people testify, people can't testify. Bifnei Bedin Shalom inside Bedin, outside Bedin. Maybe Atzmo via himself, Piachrim via others. Eno Hiyav Achi Poor Bedin, he only can deny it inside the Bedin. The other Rahim say no. Bedin Piazmo, but Meachrim with himself or via others. Kevan Shekafar Hayav once he denies that he's Hayav, even outside Betin. Now the Gemara says Mushbal Piachrim Pikadon. Minal lehu Rabbanan Hayav. According to now, how do we know that this Mishnah goes against what Rabbi just said? Because he says if a case of a deposit that's being a swearing for a deposit via others, how do Chachamim know that it's Ibi Chayav? Lab the Gamr the it must be that he learns through the Gzera Shavah from testimony. Now, that pasuk is only referring to Bedin. But we know Hachamim hold even outside Betin. So it must be that Hachamim hold that if you learn Gzera Shavah, it goes from itself and further. Whether or not you can do that. And Rabbi Meir would hold, yes, you can only keep that as same context. Hachamim say no, you continue more. Now the Gemara says yes, from our Mishnah as well, you could learn that Hachamim hold that. However, our Mishnah, right, from that Mishnah you hold it. From our Mishnah, that Mishnah now you can't bring a proof because it could be Hachamim holding our Mishnah that it's not based on a Kavachomer at all. Gzera Shavah at all is only Kavachomer. Okay, next part of Mishnah. Witnesses are chayav for knowingly violating the Shevuot. You know, I know this. Tanur Banan Chachamim hold Bekulan and Marbehem Benelam. All Pesukim regarding a Korban Hatat mentions he forgot, which means by accident. Bekanlon Marbehem Benelam. But over here, regarding testimony, it never said he forgot. Lachayav al Mazik Shugeh, therefore teach you that you chayav even by mistake, as if he did it on purpose. Next one, Mishnah. Al Sheirata Im Zedon Ha'idut. Witnesses are chayav for unknowingly violating it with knowingly denying it, meaning he denied. No, he's denied it, but he didn't know what denied. Mechem was the case. Shogegata is done maladut. What the case is? The guy says, I know this that false swearing is asur. But I don't know. I know if it's a kind of a korban or not. That's kind of having half knowledge while doing something asur. A witness is not chayav for completely violating it by mistake. Lematina means I want to learn from your Mishnah. The Rav Kahana, the Rav Asi, the same machloket about Rav Asi and Rav Kahana above. That said what? That said, Rav Kahana and Asi had a machloket. Wait, what would Rav hold regarding a certain case? And it said halacha, and they each swore. They swore, thinking they were right. So it's over here. Maybe it's the same type of concept where the guy didn't really swear falsely; he just made a mistake. But says let can't not approved. Even our Mishnah mentioned that is patur. Isrich, he still mentioned this halacha of Rav. Doesn't matter, he might think, who only in the case of testimony, lokti v'ne'elam, because didn't mention he forgot. The be'aynun shel geg dumir nazir. It has to be an accident, like the same way you'd be doing on purpose, and therefore, that would be like a guy who swears falsely thinking it was true, but he's patur. In the case of a regular Shevuah, the tiv v'ne'elam where mentions a mistake, he forgot. Even any type of mistake makes it patur. And therefore, we have to teach you that one is not chayav, is sorry. Maybe you might think a complete mistake is chayav because the pasuk mentioned forgot. Therefore, Rav has teach you you're completely patur. Shevuat haidut ketza was the case of testifying falsely or testifying at all for testimony. Amal Shnaim, if a guy says to two people, Boba, then he come testify for me. Shevuah and anu then they respond to him, we swear we don't know anything for you. Or they told him, and anu yodin lechadu, we don't know any testimony for you. Mashbiya ani alechem, and then he said, I want you to swear it. And they say, Amen. That is considered a good Shevuah if they were falsely swearing. Let's say that he told the witnesses to swear 5 times at the Bedin. Then they came to Bedin and said, you know what, we do know testimony. Putrin were completely patur. We'll see why. If he asked them to swear 5 times at Bedin, they denied it. They are only chayav once. Amar Rishmon, mana tam, why not chayav each one? Because they can't change their mind. All right, shuv she'egid eno chozer magid. Right, the halacha is in testimony. When the witness testifies, he can never change his mind, and therefore they can't backtrack on each one. And therefore, if that's the case, they're not chayav for each testimony. Okay, kafru shneim be'echad. See, the witness is denied the testimony at the same time. Shnei chayavin, they're both bechayav. If they denied one after another, how do you chayav? The first one's chayav, but Shnei patur, the second one patur, because once the first gets chayav, the second guy by himself would not be able to testify. Kafer echad v'dei echad, if one guy denied it, one guy admitted it. How kafer chayav, the guy who denied it is chayav. How do you shtei ketedim, 2 sets of witnesses? Kafer rishuna, the first group denied it. V'achka kafer rishuna, and the second group denied it. Shtei and hayavot, both will be chayav, because because any testimony can be done with any set of 2 witnesses, and therefore both sets are required for doing that. Okay, Shmuel says, let's say the witnesses, if the witnesses saw the litigant coming after them, Amru said, why are you chasing us? We swear we don't know anything for you. Between their patur for swearing falsely, unless because they first have to hear what he needs from them. Right, so they see a random guy chasing them, saying, hey, and they voluntarily say, we swear to no testimony for you, they're patur, because they have to first hear what he wants from them, testify. Mishnah says also, someone sent a slave to get witnesses to testify for him, or the defendant himself told the witnesses, I'm telling you to swear, if you know witnesses for the other guy, you should come testify for him. The guys are patur, if they swore falsely. So, we see they're patur ad she'ishme'u mipi hatoviyah. They're patur until they hear what the claimant himself has to say. we see from here already that the guy has to hear it. What's the hidush? Mar says you have to teach us this specific case where they're chasing after him. Since you might think to say Kevin that's our hand you might think it's this case is different because why? It's not just heck yeah, the guy says it or sends a slave. He's chasing after you. Maybe that's considered already hearing from him, and therefore you should be chayav, therefore patur. We also have Mishnah that says something similar. Shevuot Hadid case. What's the case of swearing to testimony? Someone says, "Wait, they need to come to me." Shevuah, and they swear. Amar in lo, amar lo. We see from there that it only has to be requested of them to swear. But if he wasn't requested, no. So again, we see from there. The Gemara says, "Amar lavdavka." Maybe in our Mishnah, that's not true. Maybe our Mishnah is talking about a case where he wasn't asked, and when it said asked, it was just is not specifically. Gemara says because if you don't want to say that it's specifically written that. Gabe Puton telling the Mishnah says by case of a deposit. She wanted to be case of what's the case of a deposit. Amarlo of the owner of the item asked the watcher, tell me Pikadon give me back my item that you have. Hachanami, would you say there also Amar in Allah he only if you requested it, but not have the kihash ba'amito kodu. But the Mishnah does not say that because Pasuk says he lied to his friend. He denied it. And therefore that denial can apply even when it's not requested. So therefore, must be over there. When it said that you requested, is not specific. Not specific. Gemara says, "What do you mean? You just answered yourself." Makes sense over there. Maybe our Mishnah, where he asked, is specifically mentioned asking, and atuacha because of our wording over here. He has to request. Right, so maybe you might think that our Mishnah, meaning if it's not necessary, our Mishnah maybe copy the lingo and the wording of the other Mishnah. Fine, beautiful. But if it's not necessary, why would the Mishnah use the same word twice if it's not necessary? Maybe you might think, maybe it's worded because that's how people talk, or that's how we mention the case. Let me say no. When it says he asked, it means literally requested. The guy is chasing after them for testimony. I'm really told them, and they say they voluntarily, they preemptively say we don't know testimony, we swear. But in the batur, but a case of a deposit is chayav because we don't need by deposit for the guy to request, as the pasuk says, they denied. Okay, the guy requested 5 times outside Betin, and they denied. They're not patur. In court, they deny the chayav. You know how you know? The achbir betin who did chayav only witnesses are only chayav for denying in court. Ahot betin lo chayav they're not chayav outside court. Rabbi said, Mark Pasuk said, lo yagid denasa abeno. If he doesn't testify, he shall have an abera. Lo amarti lecha. Right? The pasuk doesn't say that the pasuk specifically mentions you will. I have not told you that you're chayav for swearing falsely, unless you deny it in a place. If you would testify, you're chayav. Meaning, if you don't testify, you're chayav, which means it's talking about a place where you're able to testify and therefore only betin. As the case, maybe it's regarding the swearing itself, the betin he has to swear in court also. Who says the denial has to happen in court? Gemara says, don't say the techno. It says, says for one. For each and every single swearing that he swore falsely. If you want to about only bedin, you won't be chayav for each one in bedin. But the Mishnah says, you know in Mishnah that says 5 times, he batur. Marbi Shimon, matam. Why is not chayav? Because you cannot keep on swearing. And therefore, the pasuk is talking about swearing mentions multiple chiyuvim. If you swear falsely, but that can happen in betim because we know you can only be a chayav for once. Elash must be a case. We must learn from this rather. Shevuah chutz lebetin. If the witnesses are chayav for swearing falsely, only if it was made outside betim. If you're not betin, only chayav for denying in court.